What's up, guys? Elliot Hulse here on another Sunday morning with Elliot Said What. And today we got a question about what it's like to ride high and to crash down low. We've got a great question from one of our friends who I think a lot of you guys will resonate with. His name's Brendan. He's 19 years old. He goes to the University of Binghamton, where he's a sophomore. And his first year, when he was a freshman, he really found himself. He started studying more philosophy and motivational, reading books by like Les Brown and of course Osho and Alan Watts. And so he's mixing a lot of these Western and Eastern ideas about expanding the mind and focusing the mind. And he was able to use that to his advantage during his freshman year and really grow into a stronger version of himself, achieving many goals and doing really well, really excited about himself. But then he goes on to describe what happens next, and that is summertime. So those of you guys who are familiar with this man-made cycle, man-made season of, especially for those of us who are in school, of beginning our activities in the fall, right? Getting all motivated with school and doing, right? And reaching a climax, and then coming back down where summertime now, where now we can chill, now we can rest, now we can do whatever we want, right? We spent 8 months, 9 months doing what someone else wants us to do, right? And we do the best that we can. We even use motivational tactics to get ourselves to do that frigging thing, right? Get good grades, be awesome, be fantastic, be a leader. I'm all about it. I believe in it. I think that's great that you want to be your best at whatever it is that you're doing. But then all of a sudden, right, especially if you're doing this thing like a gangster like yourself, Brendan, you get to this point where, man, I'm riding high, but then it all comes to an end because there's the end of the semester, right? And what happens next is critical to the rhythm of your life. And I've discovered this personally, not while I was in school. I was probably a bit too unconscious to realize these shifts when I was in school. Plus I played football, so during the summer, it was pretty much, nose to the grinder during the summer also. But I started to notice it as an adult when my children started going to school and then coming out of school during the summer. And it hit me the hardest, Brendan, the summer of 2013. And just for perspective, many of you can see that prior to the summer slump that I had in 2013 that hit me like a ton of bricks, brother. I share this with you because I know where you're coming from. You can see that there was one version of Elliot where I was all you got to do is look at my face. I was leaner. All right, I just look at my face and you know a lot about what's going on with Elliot Hulse, right? You don't have to see my whole body. You don't have to look into my mind. But my face was leaner, and then I came back in August, the end of August, September 2013, and that's what I look like. And it was the first summer that I realized I even made a video at that time talking about the depression I was going through. I really hit rock bottom and it was difficult for me, but I learned a lot of things about myself, a lot of things about rhythms, and a lot of things about rituals that I want to share with you here today, Brendan, so that you won't go through this type of traumatic shift in your physiology and your energetic strength and of course your life mastery, right? All this works together. So the very first thing I want to share with you is my story. How about I start there? That summer, my kids got out of school, and it was the first summer actually that I had a little bit of money, right? Prior to that, I mean, we were struggling. We didn't have money for vacations and stuff like that. And but that summer of 2013, business started picking up a little bit. People were watching more of my videos, and it was the first time I was able to take my family on vacation, right? And I had been working, busting my ass for several years up until this point. Part of the reason probably why it hit me so hard is because I had been like in school, that grind mode since 2003, 4 when I first moved out. So like 10 years, I was in school. I was in the heat. Summertime didn't make a difference to me. But that summer, 2013, my kids were getting a little bit older. they got out of school, I had a little money, and I decided, we're going on vacation. I'm letting loose, right? I know a lot of you guys can relate to this. And it wasn't but the 2 weeks that I took where I let all of my patterns, all of my rhythms, all of my rituals go. I figured, hey, I'm gonna have a great time, so I'm not going to force discipline upon myself, right? Because discipline is one of these things that you do because you gotta do, right? I mean, you discipline yourself to study, you discipline yourself to clean your room, you discipline yourself to brush your teeth, depending on who you are. Hey, when it's vacation time, right? When school lets out, or when you go on your first let go vacation like I did, hey, throw all that shit away, right? Because now we get to go wild. A lot of people, this is how they operate on their weekends, right? And I'm discovering what I'm going to share with you doesn't relate just to these summer slumps. People hate Mondays because Monday's a slump too, because of what I'm going to share with you in a moment here related to letting go too abruptly. So anyway, you probably get the point. That 2 weeks, my sleeping patterns were off. I was like, I wake up at 5 in the morning during those 2 weeks. I said, fuck it, I'm sleeping. Even if I don't need to sleep, I'm gonna sleep, right? Plus, I was sleeping a lot because, well, to be completely honest, I was drinking a lot, right? Prior to that, there were many years where I didn't drink at all, right? And at that point, just something I decided I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna let it all out because I wanted to feel like what it felt like to party and to just relax the way Americans relax, right? The way people relax, the way we're conditioned to relax, which is with alcohol and slothfulness. So I did it. I gave myself a chance to do that. So we took this trip. I'll let you know where our trip was. We took our car, we drove, because I couldn't afford plane tickets. We drove up the East Coast to Savannah, Georgia. And if anybody knows anything about Savannah, Georgia, the food is amazing, man. This is where Paula Deen's restaurant was. This was actually the year that Paula Deen got in trouble for being somewhat racist, but I didn't care. I wanted some of her southern good cooking, some of her southern fried racist cooking. I didn't care, man. That food was incredible. Right? And the funny thing is, I saw a lot of black people there, a lot of black people working there, a lot of black people eating there. It seemed almost like, that was a media bullshit stunt to throw that lady under the bus. Anyway, I took a picture with a cardboard version of her and I ate all her fried chicken and potatoes and shit. But it didn't stop there. There are several great restaurants in Savannah, Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, because that's where we went next. And then we took a trip to Tennessee, right? So you could imagine, I'm drinking Tennessee whiskey and eating fried chicken, right? What are they? They also like Kool-Aid down there, right? Tea, sweet tea. I was drinking sweet tea. Well, anyway, between letting my diet go, letting my sleeping rhythms go, any type of exercise was thrown out the window. I stopped exercising for those 2 weeks. I didn't meditate, which was, it's very challenging to find quiet time for yourself when you've got 4 children in a hotel room, right? So, a part of it was logistics. I couldn't exercise, I couldn't meditate. So I really just washed my hands and said, yeah, I'm just gonna let go. And man, I came back from that summer depressed. You say here that you seem to be caught in your thoughts this year as a sophomore, right? And that you can't seem to get the same rhythm going for yourself. You can't seem to get a foot the way you once were, and you're not able to take action. That's really what you're worried about. You say, you spend a lot of time in thought, but you're not able to take action like you did. You're wondering what happened to you for beginning this sophomore year. And a few things I want to just share with you to offer you the chance to have a bit more compassion with yourself. Number one is that these rhythms are set up in a very arbitrary way where, you're taught to, for 19 years, dude, you've been taught to grind for a particular time and then let go for a particular time. Now, you as a sophomore in college, being that you came out of high school last year and into your freshman year, dude, you were filled with all kinds of excited juices. You were all jazzed up. Your adrenals were riding high. Your focus, I mean, think of it this way. You're in a brand new environment, brand new people, brand new opportunity. You could reinvent yourself. Freshman year of college is an incredible time because you really get to stand in who you are. So your motivation was high. That's one thing to just consider for yourself, to be objective about. Realize that your level of motivation going into your sophomore year just isn't going to be as high. And that's okay because you're settling in, really, what you're experiencing over these 4 years is you're settling into and allowing yourself to become a different version of yourself. That first year, dude, that set the momentum. Good for you. A lot of people go into that freshman year and they shit the bed. They can't do it. You set yourself up with high momentum. And I believe that your freshman year is indicative of what the overall experience for your college is going to be. Because that's in you. That's when you exploded. That's when you shined. It's there. The other thing that I want to share that is going to lend you to a bit more compassion for self is that you're going to be a different version of yourself through each cycle, right? It's natural to ride high and come down, right? Sometimes it's definitely natural to do this. Sometimes the way it happens is based on unnatural clocks. But what happens is I've done this so many times with my fingers in these videos, when you go up, right? I'm up, I'm riding high, and then you come down, you're not going to start again at the same circle. Right? Life doesn't look like this. Life is not this, right? So you're not the same version of yourself. You can't expect yourself to be who you were during the last cycle. It won't happen. You have new experiences, you're older, your physiology changes, all kinds of shit happens. But the ego, like you referred to, wants to attach to what was. You had a great year last year, but let it go because it's no longer. You're not that person anymore. You've got to allow yourself to go through whatever you're going through right now to reemerge on the right timetable as a stronger version of yourself. Just because summer ended doesn't mean that you're supposed to come back up on that next circle. You might still be going down. And I invite you to have some compassion with yourself while you're still down. Because if we try to force ourselves back up, we're stunting the process. We will destroy the process because now we're trying to make the thing happen. It's almost like the story with the butterfly, right? If you let the butterfly, while it's still in its cocoon, slowly emerge and little pieces stick out, and then all of a sudden it turns into the beautiful butterfly, great, it takes some time. But if you get in there and you, out of ego compassion, right? Because sometimes, it's purely our ego that's trying to help. You see that butterfly trying to get out, you see its little wings stick out, and you say, oh, I'm going to help that butterfly come out of there. And you start fucking with the cocoon, peeling it open, that butterfly ain't gonna come out right. Its body's gonna be swollen and fat, and its wings are gonna be short. And you just destroyed its life. It's perverted, it's screwed up, you messed with it. When you're coming out of these down spots, these dark spots, these slumps, you've got to allow the process to happen. Watch it unfold. You read a lot of books on meditation, you say. Well, this would be a great time to just watch. Be the watcher, right? And this is as far as your brain is concerned. Now, with that perspective, here are a few things that are the most important to maintain throughout your life in order to avoid a very difficult sting with these drops, with these dark times. It's all about maintaining ritual. You've got to choose. Now, I'll share with you mine. I'll share mine with you. But you've got to maintain whatever you find to be the most resourceful rituals for you to continue with a positive rhythm in your life, right? Now, based on the story I told you about me and going to Georgia, I realized after that summer, number one, I can't fuck with my sleep patterns. If I begin distorting my sleep patterns, which means for sure get to bed before midnight, right? I mean, that's a hard and fast rule. At this point, I never defy that, right? I don't care who. Last year during the Strength Camp Summit, when I had a bunch of guests, man. Me and my wife were out there and we were partying and we were dancing. It was a great time. Midnight came and I said, babe, let's go. We got it, and I started hugging and shaking hands. It's like, where's the hell are you going? It's midnight. You've got to have particular principles for yourself. You hold fast to your own law, right? And one law for me is don't go to bed past midnight, especially if I can avoid it. I can walk out of here. But for sure, I get to bed before 10, usually by 9:30 every single night. Today's Sunday. You know what time I went to bed Saturday night? 9:30. Not because I don't have friends and better shit to do. Well, it's not better. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than maintaining my rhythms. Other shit to do, right, that other people want to do. It's because I know if I'm going to wake up and I'm going to maintain this stride, imagine I'm running this sprint, man. And I'm going to maintain my stride, I've got to maintain my rhythm. Your sleep-wake patterns have everything to do with your physiology, bruh. Absolutely. Your hormones are dictated by the positions of the sun and you're adhering to that rhythm, right? If you're wide awake staring at screens at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, you're fucking with the biological rhythms, right? Your pineal gland, the master gland, is associated with sleep-wake cycles, right? The third eye, they call it your third fucking eye. Your third eye has everything to do with light sensitivity, right? And if you're blaring light on your master gland, your pineal gland, then you're going to have a cascading effect. They call it the master gland because it's the one that precedes all of the others. You want to fuck up your adrenals? Fuck with your sleep-wake cycles. Fuck with your third eye. You want to fuck up your digestive system? Which is a byproduct of the adrenals. I mean, it goes from here right down there. And so you're releasing catabolic hormones when you should be releasing anabolic hormones. And you're releasing well, you probably aren't releasing anabolic hormones at all because that requires rest and digest. That requires darkness, yin, sleep, yielding, sleeping, right? So if you got that all screwed up right away, you're over catabolic. You're overstimulated, over sympathetic. Right? You're beating the fuck out of yourself and you're burning the candle at both ends. Let me put it that way. So sleep-wake rhythms, essential. You finish school and you look at when you were going to bed when you were in school and when you go home for summertime, you go to bed at the same time. Not because you could sleep late, you stay up late. You maintain that rhythm. This isn't a commandment from Hulse. It's a pretty good fucking idea because it's true, right? It's biologically aligned, right? The next one, my man, is maintain your diet. Maintain your diet schedule. Maintain how you're eating through as much as you can throughout the year, right? That 2 weeks, man, that was all it took for me while I was in Georgia, eating pudding and sweet tea, threw me the fuck off because once again, my physiology was off. Right? My digestive system is having to go to work. I'm releasing more insulin than I probably had in many years, right? I gained like 20 pounds. I swelled up, retained a whole lot of water, and got sick in the head. I couldn't figure out what was going on with me. I was depressed. If I remember, I'll link the video down here, but search my channel. Those of you guys who know, Fact Finders. Go find that video where Elliot Hulse is sitting in his car after seeing Dr. Glazer, who was my psychoanalyst, and talking about being depressed. Well, in retrospect, right, when I made that video, I was just being transparent because that's what I do. But in retrospect, months later, I was like, no wonder I was fucking depressed. And then exercise, right? Your rhythms, your diet, your exercise, bro. There shouldn't be a day that goes by that your heart rate doesn't become elevated to some degree for some amount of time. You might not be pumping iron. You might not be, in your club sport at school, but definitely get out there and jog. Get out there and walk. Get out there and do sprint intervals. Get into some body weight calisthenics, wake up every morning and do a circuit. That also has a tremendous effect on your hormonal rhythms, right? Because when you exercise, when the sun comes up, right? Here's how it works. When the sun comes up, you're to become more anabolic. Your body releases catabolic. This is your adrenaline, which I have a lot of this morning. Your adrenaline, your cortisol, these are energizing hormones. Now, when that sun comes up and those energizing hormones rise in your body, you got to take full advantage of it. We're designed to rise with the sun and blaze all day. Not blaze, but blaze. Be excited, shine. Let me put it that way. You can blaze around 4:20, because that's when the sun starts going down, right? So you allow yourself to really be fully expressive during the daytime so that, right, when the sun starts setting, your body can settle down. When I'm exercising, when I'm in a good exercise routine, by the time, 7 o'clock, 7:30 comes around, I'm scratching my eyes. I'm like, ugh, boy, it was a hard day. So I'm hitting the ground, I'm hitting the bed. I'm going down, right? I'm going to sleep. I'm becoming anabolic, because guess what? 5 o'clock the next morning, bing, I'm up. I get up a little bit earlier than the sun rises, which is, it's not abiding completely. It's supposed to really rise with the sun, but the sun doesn't rise till 7:30 around here right now. And man, that hour, 2 hours, I can get a hell of a lot done. So, and I love getting up early, man. I love nothing more than getting up early, having my cup of coffee, saying some prayers, reading some books, just being by myself. And I have a window right by my chair, and I can just watch the sun come up, right? Either that or I go for a walk, right? Just to energize the body, like I'm telling you right now. I walk by the bay and I watch the sun come up. The sun is rising in me. Life is rising in me as life is rising, right? You see how exercise becomes a lifestyle. Exercise is who we are. We have these arms and legs so that we can move, right? Locomotion, that's the whole reason why we have bodies, to get out there and do stuff. So our physiology is designed to be to run most optimally when we actually do that, bro. And that's it. Don't want to overwhelm you, right? Because you got a lot of schoolwork to do. You're already overwhelmed. So number one, have some compassion for yourself and realize that you're never going to be who you were last year. Let that guy die. I know how hard that is. I remember how popular and pleasing Elliott Hulse was, Elliott was to so many of you. It's not easy to let go of a very pleasing part of you. You had all these friends, right? You were RA and you were leader of the pack. You were doing all kinds of cool shit, and everybody, the hardest thing to do is to change in the face of those who appreciate you. Hey, Brendan, where's the old Brendan? That's not the Brendan I know. Where's that motivated Brendan? Well, fuck you, he's dead. It's a year later. You're allowed to be different a year later, especially when you've had experiences that give you wisdom. And right now, man, the wisdom of your body says, allow the process to happen and get familiar and disciplined and committed with your rituals. Done.